Hi, I'm Don Dewar, and I farm at Dauphin, Manitoba with my son Mark, who's the fourth generation.
Hi, I'm Weldon Newton. I'm a retired farmer from Nipawin. Moved into the bright lights of the town about 5 years ago, I guess it was.
Hi, I'm David Rolfe. I used to farm at Elgin, Manitoba, and was president of Keystone Agriculture Producers from 2004 through 2008.
Hi, I'm Ian Wishart. I farm north of Portage la Prairie, and I had a mixed farm, including beef, cow, calf.
So I'm Rob Brunel from St. Rose, Manitoba. I farm there with, we're fourth generation grain farm.
Hi, I'm Doug Chorney. I'm a grain farmer from East Selkirk, Manitoba.
Hi, I'm Dan Mazur. I farm out in the Justice Forest area, just northeast of Brandon, Manitoba.
Hello, my name is Bill Campbell, and I currently farm at Minto, Manitoba, which is 30 miles south of Brandon on the south side of the Souris River Valley.
Hi, my name is Jill Verway, and farm in Portage la Prairie, part of a four-generation family farm. Farm with my husband and his three brothers.
I think looking to the past, I think the forward thinking by Bert Hall and Earl Geddes and Jack Pennant and all the other volunteers around the province that put KAP together, I think that was extremely forward thinking. And the model that they put together has served Manitoba producers very, very well over the years and continues to do so.
What it was in 1991, Ernie Sersky and I organized one of the largest farm rallies ever held at the Manitoba legislature. And after that, some of the people that we'd been working with wanted to form an organization. And I just said, there's the Farmers Union, there's the wheat growers, and there's KAP. I think the spectrum is covered, pick one. And I chose KAP. And I came on the executive, I think, in 1992, and the rest is history. I ended up being president.
Still, what really has a big place in my heart about KAP is that it's there to represent all Manitoba farmers. And I think that's that was the vision of it. When you dig down and you talk to a lot of the past presidents and a lot of the founding members was about having that common voice for farmers. And I just get tingles thinking about it, actually.
It was a neighbor. I remember very distinctly. It was Mary McCollum that said, "Hey, come on over. We have these KAP meetings." And I said, "What are you talking about? District meeting, whatever." So went down, met Walt Findlay and a bunch of the gang down there, and it was the rest is history.
Doesn't matter if you're milking cows, if you're have a beef operation, or if you're a grain farmer. I think KAP to me is all of agriculture in Manitoba.
Clearly was a need for a unified voice representing the agricultural industry, and KAP was it.
Well, I think the biggest thing is we got to speak for ourselves. If we don't and can't find people, and I recognize not everybody wants to get involved in that, or because one, you have to have the ability, and two, you have to have the time, and it can be a very time-consuming occupation. If you want, you can spend as much time at it as you want, but we have to speak up for ourselves, for the commercial farmer, whether he's grain or livestock or combinations thereof.
But probably the most significant thing I think that was an issue in my early days in KAP was the education property tax funding model. And when we seen the acknowledgement by the provincial government that this was inequitable and unfair to farmland owners, and the 50% reduction, which will be in 2023, I think is hugely significant to the agricultural landscape.
And the people you represent, it's not an over 60 crowd, it's not an under 20 crowd, it's not a grain producer or a mixed farmer or supply management. It was bringing everybody together and trying to represent farmers as best as we could.
Well, relationships are two-way streets, and sometimes we think that they should all understand our position and we don't need to worry about theirs. But relationships with government, both levels, and sometimes the municipal governments as well, but also relationships with consumers.
I got very involved in labor issues. We saw changes happen jurisdictionally in Manitoba with labor law changes. And then there were national considerations about workforce challenges. And the second big change was the dismantling of the Canadian Wheat Board single desk. And that was a very challenging issue for our organization because our membership was very divided. Some members supported that change and others did not. And there was really nothing you could say to satisfy either of those camps when you were representing all farmers. And it was very challenging for the organization to weather that. And I'm proud of the fact that we did get through it and we got to where we represented the grassroots.
Some of the thoughts that I've had is why I got involved. Part of the thing is that I care. And I care about agriculture. And I care about my community. And I care about my neighbors. And I care about my family. So I became involved in this process because I felt it was an opportunity for me to contribute towards beneficial rural lifestyle and economic driver for Manitoba and Canada.
Really bringing the voice of young farmers and having more young farmers involved in KAP was kind of what, spearheaded me the most, is that we'd go to meetings and there was a lot of gray-haired people at the meetings, and it's still somewhat that way, but it was nice to bring young people in and through that we got more young people involved in.
Not going to be, I knew when I started farming, I was never of the type that sit in a coffee shop or sit somewhere else and blame someone else, right? Like if you want to get control of things and manage it, you got to figure out how the system works.
One of the issues that got me involved was taxation, property taxation in particular. I could see that we were at quite a disadvantage in Manitoba compared to other provinces with the education tax in particular. And that was a tax burden that was only going to grow in the future because the cost of education has certainly grown a dramatic way. So we knew we had to find a solution there.
Then an issue arose when the expansion of the Red River floodway was happening, and I went to KAP for some support, and I was just really impressed by, first of all, how welcoming they were to me as just a farmer with a problem, and how much effort went into by then President David Rolfe to support my concerns and actually make a formal presentation on behalf of farmers.
Well, I guess I'd always felt that, farmers have to speak up for themselves on policy issues. If not, somebody else that maybe doesn't know as much about agriculture as they think they do are going to make all the rules and regulations.
I would have to say it was my husband's involvement with Keystone Agricultural Producers. He was one of the ones that went door to door when it was in its first inception 40 some years ago. And after a while, after we'd been married and we were raising our family, he took me to my first Keystone meeting, and I was hooked ever since then, and got involved at the district level, and then later became involved with some of the committees. Was involved with the board, and in the last 6 years involved with the executive, and currently president of KAP, being elected in January of this past year.
The industry is full of uniqueness and individuals, and that's what brings people to the industry, is that I do things my way. It's my farm, and I will do things as I see fit for the benefit of me. But as we've evolved, I have been able to witness and see the benefits of working together.
Having young people involved in policy discussions, broadens the perspective. We did a pretty good job, I would say, over the years of bringing people together, bringing commodity groups together and speaking as a common voice and having their involvement, active involvement around the KAP table. And I think that's an important way to drive policy. KAP is a leader and was always a longtime leader in policy discussions, provincially and nationally, because we did represent, to our best of our abilities, the Manitoba producer. And we took a wider lens at looking at issues and not just individual crops or individual livestock. And we put them together and did our best to represent farmers that way in Manitoba.
From inception, CAP wanted the education funding removed from farm land. Well, we got some of it in 1999 or 2000 budget, and I felt that was a success because that had been ongoing since the inception.
Well, probably the biggest item we accomplished while I was there was the environmental farm plans and the ALICE program, which we ran a pilot thereof.
We actually had a couple of wins, but it was due to a lot of hard work by the previous presidents and the taxation committee, and that was the education tax. And the commitment by Minister Wojcik at the time to refund or rebate some of the education tax back to producers. It had been an ongoing issue for many, many years, and it, I think, gave CAP an extra profile at the time, and because it put money in producers' pockets, everybody all the way across the province.
I think generally speaking, we're doing a pretty good job out there in agriculture. That most of the grain producers now, I think, have adopted the 4R nutrient management process, which basically you're putting the nutrients on in the right time, in the right place, in the right amounts.
We're all really excited about the opportunities for agriculture into the future. Certainly there's a lot of challenges, but I think we all want to be able to pass our farm on to the next generation. And we all want to be able to pass on information that we've learned and maybe things that we've overcome farming. And it's exciting to think about what those opportunities are into the future and how CAP fits into that. And that it's an organization that is inclusive of all the sectors.
We do not need different voices and different messages being portrayed to public and to government, because then you're ignored. But if we can bring our voices together and show strength and unity in that message, we will be able to achieve results. So,
we always need a next generation of leader, or not even a next generation, same generation, but new leaders. And so that's always been part of the reason of being involved and encouraging other young farmers is, yes, you can be under 40. Yes, you can have a young family. Yes, you can be single, not married. If you have some time to dedicate to an organization.
That is the power of CAP. Without it, I would say that is probably its secret weapon is in the membership.
Well, certainly society in general wants to know an awful lot more about the product that they're buying. So that's going to be a big thing moving forward. Part of that is environment, part of it is food safety, but we're going to be expected to produce a lot more evidence, sort of traceability, trackability, not only here in Canada, but abroad.
We need to see agriculture as a career option for non-rural youth. I think getting agriculture into the curriculum so people in cities and towns recognize agriculture as a career, not a job of last resort, but a place that you can make a future for yourself, because there are going to be many opportunities, I think, in the next few decades for people to enter the industry.
And so on our farm, doing well enables us to give the opportunity to our children to be a part of the farm and to take over and to continue into the future. Encouraging young individuals through both the university program and Assiniboine Community College ag programs to get youngsters involved, that young men and women that are coming back to the farm or going into ag businesses, to keep them involved with CAP. It's exciting to think about what those opportunities are into the future and how CAP fits into that, and that it's an organization that is inclusive of all the sectors, and I think it's unique that we can represent all farmers, because to be able to sit around a table and point out things that affect us all, that we can maybe strive to improve in the future, and so that we can farm tomorrow.